Hello and welcome. This time I'm taking over the studio and Jim is sat on his backside over the other side of the pond. He's been the guest this time. All right, Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and welcome from Vancouver, British Columbia, somewhere near noon in South Surrey, British Columbia.
I was going to say it's great swapping things around, and also this is my training day doing the studio, so this is going to be quite fun. Right, the whole idea of this show is we're reviewing the after show from Kitfest 2024. I know it's taken so long, but we've got busy lives. Um, so basically, Jim, what do you know about what happened at Kitfest on your side of things? You know, it was a big event. We couldn't go live because of network issues.
Yeah,
Um, but a bit of a background for what you heard so far.
well, yeah, I'm glad you touched base on the network issue because and we had tried to go live in the past and it was abysmal. We just make the decision that rather than have lagging video and situations where we would basically freeze, we decided to just do it by way of a recording. And there are many people who contribute to it, and you certainly are with Make Some Noise doing it. So I'm glad that we're getting together to have a chat about it.
Just like you just said, Jim, it's now I'm called Make Some Noise. I had to rebrand. I used to be Skidmax. Skidmax has now had to move on. But Make Some Noise is new. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be covering all different areas, not going to be planted on one area. So for the following, one thing we'll highlight for the weekend is this following sequence.
What time is? It's Uncle Paul!
I'm totally down with that.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say, but well, basically, the whole weekend just became one big bit of laughter. This sequence just going the Uncle Paul sort of weekend. Traumatized him, but we had some fun, and I think Paul had a little bit too much to drink. We invited him on, but unfortunately, he's not available tonight. But just to give you all a quick idea, as the starting sequence was sort of showing you a bit about the show itself. So I'm going to just hand over to the next bit of footage, which is highlighting this actual size of the show, especially on the Sunday when all the modern cars came in. It was spectacular. So I'll just hand it over to that footage now. So give me a second. Jim, so from your point of view, being across the pond, um, the size of that show, does that really sort of compete to what you tend to go to?
Oh my goodness, completely different because we don't have the camping stayovers. And that I think is a unique piece to Kit Fest. Now, it's all weather dependent, of course, but we don't have that kind of things. A lot of our shows, and we just finished our major show of the year, which is the All British Field Made in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's a static kind of a show, and we have like hundreds of cars. I mean, there was literally 400 cars on display this weekend, and we went live and did recordings from it. And there was another example of technology kind of getting in the way sometimes, but you know what? It came off by way of YouTube, and we're getting them up now.
Yeah, well, that's as you say, it's quite good that we and tidy it all up and still allow people to see what we wanted them to see and cover it all up.
Yeah.
Um, basically, as you understand, we had an opportunity over the weekend. We actually was able to go onto the strip as one large group as we joined the Kitfest crew,
Mm-hmm.
and we paraded. I don't know how many cars were there. I really can't count, but I know that we had 4 abreast, and we're going up as slow as possible. We got told instructions. We need to keep moving. We can't stop because we'll damage the track. That's a
Ah,
first.
I never
Yeah, I
thought
was gonna
about
say the
that.
wheel spinning is a bit what sort of damages the track, not the slow bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the glue and the rubber on the floor sort of thing
Yeah.
will drag you up. And luckily, what happened was when we actually prayed on the Sunday, the gentleman who were doing the commentating was actually filming from above, so we got a good angle. So I'm going to show you that, and I'll be back again.
Great.
Westfields GT40, whatever that is. Still coming. Check them out. Kitfest 2024 at Santapod Raceway. Seen a number of the cars on the track throughout the day. Exocets, Westfields, Morgans.
As you all saw, I was got quite a bit excited about that, and now looking back at it, even I've got even more excited. There's all sorts of things. It's just like there was drifting, there was live stage. As I say, we were camping. We had our little area that was given by Trevor, and food, drink. He was happy. He was very, very happy. As long as that was open, I think it was the price is what made him cry. But while we were there, it was quite spectacular because we had run what you brung. I think that's the saying, where you was
Yep.
able to put your own car on the track and actually try and do it. A lot of people know that I had a kit car in the past and now got an American cop car. So I was able to get my Pontiac Firebird police interceptor on track after a massive engine rebuild. Yes, on the video footage, what I'm not going to show you, it looked slow, but you've got to imagine the engine had just been rebuilt. So
Yeah.
I got to 70 as fast as I could, and then I had to ease off.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was one massive feature one. There was have you been to drag racing, Jim?
I have been to drag racing, that's for sure. But may I just jump in?
Yeah.
I think it's time that we all just give a little bit of an acknowledgement to the busiest guy on that weekend, and that is Trevor Harmer. For him, this is the yearly. That's the top of the mountain for the Northwest Kit Car Club, and he was the busiest man, I am sure.
I was going to say, because all weekend he was absolutely everywhere trying to control things. We kept meeting people and sort of thing, but every time I turned around, his smile was beaming. It must have hurt on the Monday, but his jaw was like.
Well, the weather was perfect, wasn't it?
He was running around. He ran it really, really
just
well.
Totally came off perfectly for him.
So no, I think it sort of worked quite well because he's worked from being very, very small, a very small gathering. It's got bigger and bigger, and then allowing like the Mini Kits team to come in and create a little off show onto it to sort of expand it, still being kit cars, which Kit Fest is all about, but just giving it a little spin. And so no, we were excited to sort of be there. It was our first time. We had probably about 8 or 10 cars turn up, but potential we can have more if we go ahead with it. But yeah, one of the features what they had was they had a rocket powered dragster, and the sound that thing made was unbelievable, and you felt it in your chest.
I think I was hearing it here in Vancouver.
It was either that or it was someone falling out of bed somewhere nearby. So I'm going to show you some footage that it's a bit jerky, but my son took it with my mobile phone. So I'm going to show you that footage, and then we'll both come back to you very shortly.
Sounds great.
I still feel that right now. My head's still pounding.
Wow.
But no, yeah, I'm going to say it's an experience and a half. I've never done it before. Never been to Santa Pod. I'm a massive motoring enthusiast, but it's to be able to get there and experience it. And luckily, we had some nicer weather on the Sunday. The Saturday was overcast, quite cold, very very windy. It destroyed our gazebo.
Mhm.
But we made sure that the gazebo went down quite well, because I'm going to do a short sequence of photos very soon. Because one thing what came out of it, which Trevor absolutely hates, is we was winners again. We won I believe it's our third trophy now this year. I think it's time that Paul goes and gets a trophy cabinet.
Sounds great.
Yeah, definitely. It's coming out of his
Well,
pocket.
you guys deserve it.
Isn't
You absolutely deserve it.
It's so much hard work. It's like another project I'm working on right now, which I'll highlight in a minute. You're aware, but the public are not. So I'll run a few sequences of the pictures. There's not many, but it's just showing like that we had fun. Okay, I'll hand it over. Long weekend. It must have taken about 3-4 days to sleep and try and catch up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, if you saw that live, Jim, you'd be exhausted on where you are. You'd be in that chair like literally power nap. But
I can empathize actually, because that's
as I
exactly
say,
where I am right now. We did the ABFM and I'm editing like crazy, and you've caught me just between edits, and I am decompressing.
so basically, if I zoom out right now, you're in this sort of position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cross feet and off you go. I'm not gonna fall off the chair this time. I unfortunately, when I keep trying to do broadcasts, I keep hitting the wrong button. I keep just dropping down for some reason. So I'll come back up. So yeah, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, team. It was brilliant. I wish, as I say, I wish Paul was here to sort of show his enthusiasm, because he's up for it as much as we are. So the question is, do we do it in 2025?
Well, you better do it in 2025. We'll all be despondent if you don't.
I would say you're going to board a plane and join us, but
Ooh.
I don't. I think it might be a bit of fun.
It could
It's
be. You never know.
You can empty that big whiskey jar of all those dimes and stuff like that, quarters
Yeah.
and dimes, but no, it's like even if we can't, we'll find some way of sort of involving you.
Yeah.
But yeah, make some noises on board. I think Midnight Kits is excited to try and do it, and by showing how we did this year, we got potential of getting a lot more in there, so we can expand. And also, I'm in talks to try and involve the police again, because over in America, in Las Vegas especially,
Yeah.
to try and stop all the street racing, they
Yeah.
actually book out the drag strip and
I
allow the
know.
police to race them. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do that in Britain and use it as more of a team building exercise for the police rather than it being just a public display. Let them have a bit of fun.
An income generating opportunity.
Well, it can be expanded. Like, it's like, as we discussed earlier on while I was out of studio, we're saying the different directions that we've gone. Because I've only really been involved with Seven Spot as a guest was last November. So really 6 months, we've moved on so much now.
Yeah. Now look at you right now. You're operating the studio and doing a wonderful job with your very first show. It's fabulous.
I'm going to say I control everything with one finger. So yeah. So I'll speak to Trevor. We'll keep in contact. We've got a couple of big shows. So our next project, before we go, Jim, are you aware what I've done before?
I have, I know what you've done before and who you were affiliated with, and I know some of the projects that you've been working in and are working on, and we both are working on some of those similar projects. So I'm going to say yes, but I want you to fill in the blanks. What are you working on?
Right, I'll fill in the blanks. I'll do this little bit. Ever since 2021, I used to be part of the largest free motoring festival in UK and Europe, which brought in nearly 250,000 people. With being free, it's unusual because you don't get those numbers, and what they put on is spectacular. It's Coventry Motor Fest. It's happening again this year, but I'll quickly recap. I joined them in 2019. We fought through COVID, so everything was done by virtual conference calls, like what we're doing sort of now.
Yep.
But my first project, we came out of COVID, and literally a couple of weeks after the UK came out and everyone was able to mix again, we had to downtone it. But I did something with the BBC, the British Broadcasting Group radio station in Coventry, where they ran a competition to be able to ride in some very, very special cars and parade around, because the NHS got like rounds of applause and stuff like that. I don't know if they did that out in where you are, but you used to have to step outside and say, well done, sort of thing, for all your help, for keeping us going. But there was a lot of people out there who we call the unsung heroes, where teachers, lorry drivers, toilet cleaners, all these people who still had to work, and went to allow people to stay at home. So we thought that we'd offer them a chance to be able to have a thank you.
Yeah.
So the BBC chose 10 people. They ran a thing for people to nominate them. So they didn't know anything till I made the phone call. I was handed the numbers. I rang them up. I went, congratulations, it's Craig Hutchinson from Motorfest. You have been nominated for a ride in a very special car for 1 hour around Coventry. And basically, you won't know your cars till you turn up at this unknown location, which we couldn't announce because we didn't want to get too much of a gathering because of coming out of COVID. Surprise, surprise. We turned up with the cars. There must have been 1,000 people there. Somehow they found out where he was. But in some ways you can understand. But the special cars I brought in was 10 American cop cars, Ecto one from the Ghostbusters, and a big US Army truck. And we recreated that New York scene when they were going to fight Gozer at the end.
Yeah.
And so it was just amazing to recreate. So that was 2021. 2022 couldn't happen because unfortunately the passing of the Queen. So it was that weekend, so everything was cancelled.
Yeah.
No, so we had to knock it on the head and come back in 2023. So I reworked it. More people wanted to come and bring their cars to join us on the parade. So we decided a Sunday morning shall be something called One Big Alarm, which was created where we wake up Coventry at 10 o'clock in the morning on the ring road on the sprint track, lights and sirens. 33 turned up. So you can understand that was noisy.
Yeah.
And it became very, very spectacular. And then, well, this year, I'm just going to run a quick clip of what's coming.
I'm ready.
And then we'll come back. Okay, I'm pressing the button now. Are you watching? Are you watching? Okay, as you saw, it got a bit manic and there was quite a lot there. So what do? You come back in 2024, bigger. So I'm glad to announce today we have achieved 50.
50.
50.
Nice.
God help me. I've got to control them from another side of Coventry, get them into Coventry, get them around the sprint track, get them around the streets, and then get them displayed so they can interact with people. So yeah, One Big Alarm 2024 is Sunday the 2nd of June in Coventry.
That was the question I had. When? And that's Sunday
when?
the 2nd of June. Coventry.
So yeah, so basically 10 o'clock, people are going to be shouting, moaning, because that's when we go lights and sirens again. So we're going to be even louder, even longer. So it's something excited to do. So once that's all done, I'm hopefully going to try and do some live if I can, or some pre-records. But moving on, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it short. I hope you're as excited as what we was on that weekend from the footage that you've seen. And yeah, so I'm going to hand it over to the end of the sponsor, end of the show. Thank you very much, Jim, for joining me. It's been brilliant that you've been able to come in at the very last minute. And I mean, literally very last minute. He ran into his garage, introduced me to his wife, ran back into the house, sat in his chair, and he's been there since, guiding me through. Thank you very much again, Jim. It's been very much appreciated. And I can't wait to work on the next project with you.
And I have to say thank you for inviting me to be your guest. It's very unusual for me to be the guest.
So from me, Craig, and from Jim across the pond, and to you, the world, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Let's spread the word. We're going big. We're going massive. Let's go. Let's start 2025 off with a big bang. thank you very much again. Let's go to the end credits. Thank you.
And if I may add, let's make some noise.
Wah! Let's go.
Alrighty.